What did I? I didn't say anything funny, did I, Fred?
No, no, but I was just laughing. I was thinking about that particular ability, and a number of times people are like, "What? What? Really? That's all it does? What?" I'm like, "Yeah." Well, I might as well just play a wizard that's evocation and stop the spell. Well, oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Hello there, adventurers, and welcome to Wally DM. Our next subject that we're going to tackle in the YouTube roundtable discussion is if you could change one class, one thing about a class that is in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, what would you modify? And to start us off with this question is going to be no fun. What would you do to this?
So I would change the bard, and what I would change about them is I would make them no longer a full spellcaster. I don't want them to be the wizard that can sing and dance. I want them to be sort of a mix between other spellcasters. We see the warlock gets their own special progression table, and we see the wizards and sorcerers have a similar one. I don't think bards should be on the same level as sorcerers and wizards. I think it should be extremely special. And to that degree, I would make bards pretty much on par in regards of progression with warlocks. And I would also make sure to make them really have effects that are not necessarily whimsical, but I would definitely lean into the inspiration side of it. Not just, oh, you get a few inspiration a day. I'd want more of the anti-charm, and I'd want more of the buffing of your teammates and the debuffing of your opponents throughout the entirety of the adventuring day.
So you'd make them more of a support class than they currently are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. You really struck for the heart on that one. I just got to say, as a second favorite class as the bard to play, I think I lost my breath. I think my beard turned gray. It was brown at the beginning, and you made it turn gray. Okay, that's a great answer. For me, I'm going to go and look at the Sorcerer. And it's not because they're limited in spells or anything like that. There's one thing in particular that I have an issue with, and that's because I am currently playing a Sorcerer that concentrates on fire, and that is the meta magic. It seems like every time you make a Sorcerer, your main go-tos for meta magic is to quicken, to twin, or subtle. Now, there's one called Careful. And if you're not familiar with Careful, you can spend a sorcery point and you can have your friends up to, I think, 1+ your charisma modifier. You can have your friends around you automatically make their saving throw. But if you're casting a fireball, they're still going to take half of the damage from that fireball. They make the saving throw, that's good, still take half the damage. But you have a wizard, the evocation wizard, and it is able to manipulate their spells so that not only do their friends auto-succeed, but they also don't take any damage. So if I were to be able to make one change, it would be to the sorcerer, and that would be to fix the careful spell so I can fireball without having my friends sweat it out. So those are ours. What about you, Dawn? What is one thing that you would change about a 5e character class?
So I would change up with the Ranger, specifically the animal companion, because it's kind of something that it starts out a little overpowered, and then, especially once you get to some of the higher levels, it becomes more of a pet than an actual companion because, if you're going to bring it out in a big fight, it's probably going to die. And so I really want to see leveling up your animal companion or having it kind of reach milestones where not only does your ranger get new abilities, but they have they have reached a better connection with their animal companion. And so the animal companion also kind of levels up with them to kind of be a little bit more useful and a kind of valid part of the party at those higher levels rather than just when you're starting out and it's like, yeah, I've got this cool thing and now, okay, you can go over here because I don't want you to die.
Just to point out a fact that if the careful spell stays the way that careful meta magic stays the way it is, your animal companion is going to get roasted when I cast my fireball. I gotta say that.
That's true. Yeah.
So I'm in total agreement with you. It's also neat to point out too that I think Pathfinder has like a leveling system for their animal companions, or they used to anyway.
Yeah, second edition does, and I would actually like to see a similar thing kind of in 5th edition because they kind of solved the problem that I ran into with Rangers.
That's awesome. How about you, Fred? What would you change about one character class in 5e?
I feel like I'm a step on Dawn's toes because I picked the Beastmaster Ranger as well.
Popular pick.
I was like, well, what are we going to do about this Beastmaster Ranger thing? Well, frankly, I don't disagree with Dawn on all of that, but rather than run over the same material, I'll go from a different angle. I kind of feel like the Beastmaster Ranger and that animal companion, that a lot of people who play that particular character class are really wanting their Beastmaster Ranger to sort of help them with stuff. And so I would be going with, like, can we have advantage without an action? So no action involved. Forget about bonus action, interactions, blah, 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 blah. No action. And you just get advantage if the creature's in melee with whatever you're targeting. And so you get advantage on that attack, rather than burning up actions and bonus actions. But on top of that, because I want more for the Ranger, and that is I would want advantage on something like a perception check when you're going and doing your searches and so forth, advantage on that as well, so you can actually find things a little bit better. Maybe even taking the higher perception modifier. If the animal's perception modifier is higher than yours, then you could use that and get advantage. That would be kind of cool. Survival advantage on that. Why not? Animals, survival makes sense. Ranger, nature, maybe not to know stuff, because unless you can communicate telepathically with a creature, it might not be very helpful. But other aspects of nature might work in terms of advantage. Animal handling. I mean, you got one animal, you must be good with. You did it all right with this one. Maybe you can do better with others. Advantage on that. And intimidation, because animals are really helpful. They're really cute and cuddly. And when you don't like somebody or they don't like somebody, they can screw with their head pretty good. So intimidation seemed like a advantage sort of thing as well. And I kind of feel like that's where a lot of people who play Rangers and the Beastmaster are really at. That's the sort of thing that they would probably like a lot more.
Yeah, the intimidation really makes sense. I mean, you just think of your pets in real life. I mean, if someone were to mess with me, my dog would eat their face, and and if I wanted to throw back, get it. So that definitely makes a lot of sense. So those are one modification that we would make to an existing 5e class. Let us know in the comment section below, what modification would you make to one of the existing classes in Dungeons and Dragons? You are watching the D&D YouTube Roundtable. There's all kinds of additional videos. Be sure to check out the playlist and continue watching with the next video.